They don't look bad, do they? Look pretty good to me. And here's the nut. Standard wheel nut. 1/2 inch 20 thread. Once again, I've done 2. Tiny bit of wiggle on that, but to be honest, you have a tiny little bit of wiggle on a standard bolt. If I was doing that for a pucker job, I'd do it again, slightly tighter. I'm not an expert. I'm an enthusiastic amateur, like lots of people. And I think what I did wrong was I put the first cut on that dial there, so that meant I didn't need to go as far on that dial, and I stopped short there. Look, I'd only got to 46 when I stopped, but the 46 in combination with the cut that I put on there was probably just a couple of thou too much. Hey, guess what? I've had a third go at it, and I kind of, because I've gone undersized so much, I've stopped short of the numbers on there, and I tried the nut on and it was a little bit tight. I went through that process that I did before with the file, the emery, the scotch pad sort of thing, and the wire brush, and it looks good actually. It doesn't feel all torn like they can do, but it is just slightly too tight. You can see it starting, but it just goes tight there, so it needs a tiny bit more. So I'll try and take a tiny bit more, which could be difficult. Hello, look, I'm looking at the Theoretical Machinist, and I have just punched in a 1/2 inch 20 UNF. I pressed compute, and it's got all sorts of things here for measuring, but the one I'm interested in is this one here, flank length 42 thou. I don't know what these numbers here are. And there's an interesting drawing there, and you can see the flank depth there. So when I was saying 50 thou, that's why I was going wrong, because I needed to go in 42 thou. And the thread depth straight in is 36 thou there, 36.5 thou. What I think I'm going to do, I'm going to have one more go and try and cut a decent thread based, now that I know those numbers. Okay, that's on low speed now. That's on 84 CF. So I've just zeroed this dial, and I've just zeroed that dial. I've just went online, and that thing I said about this needing to travel 50 thou is a load of rubbish. It needs to go 42 thou. And I'd forgotten that this one is measured in 1 thou increments, this one is measured in 2 thou increments. So when I was saying I'm putting 10 thou on, I was putting 20 thou on. I'm going to have one more attempt at getting a decent fitting thread. You know all about the waiting for the mark, pulling the lever, all these settings, winding the things. So I'm going to just concentrate the camera on the tool, and I will talk through the hand movements that I'm doing while you watch the tool. So let's get the camera on this thing here. So let's start her up. Let's just put 5 thou on. Mark's coming round. Engage now. That's wrong. Wind out. I can see that that is the wrong pitch. I've set the levers up wrong. Okay. It was only a 5 thou cut, luckily. So let me set the levers correctly. Can you see that that is actually like more like oh, I don't know what it is. Wind into 0. Mark's coming round. Okay. Stop. Back off the cross slide. Bring it back. Back into 0. Wait for the mark. Haven't put a cut on. Never mind, don't panic, we'll just get to the end and disengage. What you don't do is disengage part way through if something goes wrong. Back it off. Come out. Bring it in. Put a cut on. I'll bring it up to 10 thou now from 5 thou. Mark is around now. Give it another 5 thou. Mark's coming round now. Can you see that the cut appears heavier the deeper you're getting because it's taken a wider cut? Stop. Wind off. Wind back. Wind on. Put a cut on. Mark. Engage. Stop. Wind back. Wind out rather. Wind back. Wind to 0. Put the cut on. Another 5 thou. Wait for the mark. Here's the mark. On. Stop. Wind out. Wind back. Wind in. Put a cut on. Wind back. Wind out rather. Wind back. Wind in. Cut on. Right, I'm at 30 now. 35. Here's the mark. On. Watch the tool, come to the end, disengage. Wind out. Make sure it is out, because it's in deep now. Wind back. Wind 0. Let's go to 40 thou. No, let's go to 38 thou. Put a bit of Earl on the end. Mark, engage. Disengage. Wind out. Wind back. Let's try the nut. That's not bad actually. Let's try this. And that goes on. But it's actually a good fit. So it just shows, doesn't it, that it's best to stop a little bit short because of your, you know, you're touching off and things like that, and that's actually a good fit. And once that's been wound on a few times, on and off a few times, that'll fit really nice. Yeah, that's good, isn't it? Because in theory it's 42 thou along that flank, but I went 38, but I probably went in a couple of thou on the touch off. It's very slightly tight, but I'd settle for that. Bear in mind, it hasn't been cleaned up or deburred or anything. You're going to get a little bit of fur on it, you know. And now, I mean, I don't know how accurate this nut is. It's a wheel nut, you know. It's not a high precision gauge piece, is it? But it's the best I've got. Okay, so as a, let's just try cleaning it a bit. That looks like a nice thread actually, and because of the subsequent machining and thread forming, you can't really see a trace of that early boo-boo that I did where I did it at the wrong pitch. That looks alright. And it fits nice. That fits good, that does. Just a tiny little bit of movement. But you know, it's good, that is. That's great. Just to show you though, armed with a little bit of information and being prepared to take steady little cuts, you can produce a reasonable thread. That's the best one I've done, that is. The last one I did was okay, but I buggered up all the end of it. I buggered up the end of this, but luckily I buggered it up early enough that I unbuggered it while doing the rest of it. Okay, great. Right. Thanks very much for joining me in the garage then. A viewer asked me if I could show some thread cutting, and I thought, okay, I'll give it a go, because it's something I've done occasionally but not very often, so I thought it'd be good for me to kind of refresh. And I've enjoyed it, to be honest. I found it interesting, making mistakes, fixing the mistakes, you know, just keep constantly fixing my mistakes. That's my fourth one there, and I think it came out okay. Okay, maybe I can put this to bed now and get on with something else. Righto, thanks very much for joining me in the garage then. You take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.